So Christian, we are in the Bouchon vineyard 1.0, the first kind of plantation in the vineyard here in Mingre. Can you tell me a bit about when this pais was planted and why it was planted in this way at the time?
Well, yeah, here in Bouchon we had like many periods in the time, you know, and I think we had a little bit the history of viticulture. I would say not only in Chile, I would say in South America. So when the first vines arrived of Pais or Listan Prieto, they arrived, they were planted like you're seeing, like bush vine system. In general, you're looking for 5,000, a little bit more plants per hectare. And in that time, also we kept back. The only way to manage, you know, the weeds and to move the soil was with horse. So that was the way that this vine around 80 to 120, we said 100 plus years, they were used to work like that. And we, I would say, the last 7 to 8 years, we come back to this, you know, to move the soil, to take the weeds by hand also, and to use the horses again.
Excellent. So this was, you know, 100-year-old planting. And then at what stage did Bouchon and kind of viticulture in South America move to this system, the VSP?
Yeah.
When did this start happening?
Well, I think it's that we were talking about the first, I will say the first influence, the culture in South America and in Chile started like 500 years ago, okay? And we start with this Spanish influence that was the Pais Listan Prieto. And then I would say the middle of 19th century, we got this big French influence. And then we moved, you know, to this system, and also we moved to another varieties. Yeah. In this case, it's Carmener. Well, in that time was mixed with Merlot. It's supposed to be Merlot. Cabernet Sauvignon mainly. So we start with these Spanish varieties. Then in 19th century, it's supposed you couldn't make like a fine wine. So, and also Chile and South America too was looking to France, you know, in many ways. So then we start to move and to bring all these French varieties, and also we try to copy that system. So we take off the pais and we start to plant them this way, also for the tractor, machine, you know, and for these kind of varieties.
Excellent. But you kept your pais, and not necessarily on purpose. Why did the family keep the pais rather than moving everything to Bordeaux varieties, as most people were doing at the time?
Well, to be honest with you, Amanda, in that time when this estate Mingre was mainly pais with a little bit of Carignan, you know, interplanted, and then they took off all this plant. But we only leave that look, not because of the quality, to be honest, because in this part of the state you get high probability of frost. So they couldn't, they leave the pais, you know, like abandoned, and they leave, and then they moved to the Bordeaux varieties in that way. So this was abandoned. It wasn't not the best place, you know, high probability of frost, and it's still alive. We start to recover a little bit like 7-8 years ago, and now we're making a good wine from here.
Excellent. So now Bouchon 3.0 in the focus of kind of recovering the old vines. Also, you're planting new bush vines, so you're going back to that old method. And then we also have a totally different perspective here of a natural way of planting, actually, in South America. One of the most traditional ones was with trees, but this is not intentionally planted. This is your Pais Salvaje. Could you tell us a bit about this?
Well, a little bit, we got the bush vine system, and this estate was mainly planted like Pais, I said before, and well, all the cuts for the pruning. In, I don't know, a few years ago, in this place you had much more water, you know, running here. So we believe that they leave the cut for the pruning, and at the same time they start to grow this native forest. And it's really interesting because it starts to grow at the same time, you know, the vines with the forest. So now we got, here's more than vines. Here we taste and we make the wine as an ecosystem. And that we truly believe about the sense of the place that gives to us.
Excellent. How easy is it to harvest this? I mean, I imagine the VSP is probably the easiest, then the bush vines.
Yeah, and that's the crazy one.
And then this is the crazy one.
Yeah, because
how do you harvest this?
Well, there's a little bit of vine near to the floor, so you can take here and pick it quite more easily, like as you see here. But then you have, I don't know, you got grapes up to 3 to 5 meters, so we need to get ladders.
Ladders.
Yeah, to pick the grapes. So it's the only thing complex here is that, because here this is part of the state that we never prune, we never spray with nothing. So this is quite natural. So this is a pure ecosystem.
Excellent, fantastic. And tell me about your winemaking, because it's been very interesting, your experimentation with pais, but also going back to very traditional, ancient winemaking techniques. Can you tell me a bit about your kind of change with the approach to Pais within Bouchon?
But at the beginning, we didn't have so much experience about Pais, and in terms of trying to get the identity of the variety, always afraid because it's a variety with not too much color. Sometimes the challenge can be a little bit rustic, but if you cultivate, you make the viticulture a good way, there's a great wine. So we come back for sure. Native yeast, concrete chuck that we used to have here for many years, and we start to use it again. In the case of Salvaje, we start to use a little bit the whole bunch too. And I would say not be afraid about the variety and try to understand it.
Excellent, fantastic. Thank you very much. What a well-learned history lesson.